This is episode 4 of Disco Elysium. Docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A. The belly of this boat shines like it was recently painted. The room in the whirling isn't much bigger than this slope.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out a hand over the railing. Joyce L. What does the L stand for?
Clayton, my maiden name.
Her bony hand dangles from the sleeve of her oversized raincoat. RCM, what is that? I'm a little foggy here.
I meant you, the Revachol Citizens Militia, the police.
What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual.
Very unusual.
But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do?
What we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
What are the other Indo-tribes?
Saint-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
You're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
She does not register the real meaning of the remark. I got it. Tell me something else.
She nods.
What can you tell me about this strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
What is your role in this, precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Tell us more about this behemoth.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
How were the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
He looks at his notes.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
What happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it?
She pauses to compose herself.
Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Not cool.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Over-aggressive commie posturing.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Most of them probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
What are you going to do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyar at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Tell me about his union boss, Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Say nothing.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there are 2 of him.
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself, outside the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
She hesitates, looking for the right expression.
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother.
She turns to you.
And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
A giant leech is sucking the life out of Rivershoal.
Indeed. And a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
The scabs at the gate, did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the Union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
One more thing. You said something happened in the elections.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Some kind of extortion, probably.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
That's all I need here. Let's change to the topic.
Of course. How else can I help?
What can you tell me about this lynching?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57.
The lieutenant hands her a piece of blue plastic.
And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
It's possible. After a night of heavy drinking, I lost all memory of my life and the world. Yeah, maybe not. I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. This world, this city, nothing.
Oh dear.
Besides confusion. Sadness.
Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Medium 11. How do I negotiate my way out of this?
Feelings will guide the way.
But Merlin, I need to know about this lynching. It's very important to me. It's the case unsolved.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
You have so much else. I have only this. Spread your hands. This is the entirety of my existence.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
This boat, for example, and a home somewhere. I only have this case.
Officer.
The carbon fiber hull creaks. I don't remember anything except this lynching. There is only this coast and this lynching.
You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible.
Like what?
The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbor. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Indeed.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Excuse us for a moment, madam. One sec, I need to get some food. some kick to it. Oh, excuse me. I made the frozen pizzas and I used sriracha as like tomato sauce. Whew.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
The lieutenant's voice is hushed. How did you hope it would go?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and you know, not volunteer us to be her henchman.
Oh, so we're henchmen now.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
What do you propose? That we don't investigate the drug trafficking?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we're on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching.
Let's go back to her then.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Okay, tell me about this alleged drug trafficking.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
Then you want us to investigate?
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
The lorries.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
She gives you a knowing look.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
It's no coincidence the lorries are stranded there like that, like?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However,
She pauses, looking to the sea.
this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue.
She looks north.
Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
Why didn't you come to the Elysium earlier?
We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
What proof do you have that the Union is involved?
How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, The contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
So you think the strike is being funded with source ingredients for drugs?
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
It sounds like she tried looking into it herself, though she's clearly not the type your typical lorry man would confide in.
Okay, I've made up my mind about the smuggling investigation.
Yes?
We will take this case, probe the drivers, see what it yields.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
You know something about these tattoos. Show her the photo.
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
So you know something about the tattoos?
Better not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
Thank you, that's all for now. Oh wait, you seem smart. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in.
This reality?
She pulls her hood closer around her neck.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
I'm conducting a personal investigation into the world I found myself in.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher-detective.
My theory is that the inquiry into the nature of reality will ultimately converge with our murder investigation. They are really one and the same.
Are they now?
The lieutenant cocks one eyebrow.
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then. Go ahead. Ask.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Where are we?
We're in Martinez, baby.
And what is Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour. North of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Tell me more about Martin.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
You mentioned the sea. What sea is this?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Are we near the ocean?
Yes. We're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
What's the name of this island?
Caillou. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her and to humanity at large.
Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revachol?
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
What kind of city is Revachol?
The great kind.
What makes Revachol great?
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
And why will it resolve history?
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
Why here?
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
So we're pretty much at the center of the world.
Oh, we're quite a way off. About
She points across the water, where the skyscrapers rise.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Look to the sea.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
Where are we?
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
She watches you closely as you scan the horizon.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
You're right, Lieutenant. I'll continue later.
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
As often not.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
As often not.
Anything else? Of course, Detective.
If you had a bag in your hand, perhaps you could collect these bottles and sell them. The ad reads, broken window. Tibbs has windows. The things I've seen, hit and sell. To roundabout north. Cape Side Apartments, Martinez Pier. The coin-operated viewer has been banged up, inoperable.
Have you any shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
Honey, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, all right?
The other one is eating a big sandwich.
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never.
Shouldn't I ask what game it is first?
No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game.
Hand-eye coordination, medium 10. Grab the ball and show them how it's done.
You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter, you'll make it work. God, this is right. You feel the familiar tremble of excitement and adrenaline that precedes every victory. Time has frozen.
Let's go, be the ball.
Whorehouse of shit. It wasn't whorehouse of shit. The shot was at least 23 meters. Probably 24, and then some. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
What the hell is your problem?
Not a weak triceps, that's for sure.
I don't care if you are a cop. You do not just ruin someone's game. It's so goddamn disrespectful.
A man his age getting worked up like that? Better watch that blood pressure.
I'm sensing anger. I don't understand why.
You vandalized our game, son. We can't play pétanque with 5 bull.
I thought it was shot put.
Well, it damn well isn't. It's pétanque. You ruined a pétanque game. We want our bull back.
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding, isn't it, officer? No harm done.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug. You owe us a goddamn bull.
I don't have a bull, but will this do? Hold out the shot put ball.
Will this... No, it will goddamn not.
Thank you, officer. This is really something. Honestly, I think it's better than our old bull, even.
Mon Dieu. All right, fine. What do you want, officer?
Yes, why did you come here? It's unlikely they know anything about the murder. You never know. He might know something. This is a good vantage point. Just talk. It'll smooth things over. Old people like attention.
You seem to be playing in a crater.
Yes. The terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game.
Do you know what created it?
I do. Fire from heavy artillery.
Okay, it's crater left by artillery fire, but why?
Why what?
Why was heavy artillery used?
Because that's what happens when communists hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home.
Did you use artillery fire against them?
Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked.
He had squeezing a bull in his fist.
Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't so, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Why shell them here in Martinaise?
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up first.
The beachhead?
Yes. The military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol.
He finds your lack of historic knowledge troubling. A sign of mental deterioration in the preceding generations.
Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta.
He points to the northeast. Deathblow sounds grim.
This here is Blood Ground, where coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Is that why everything is so bombed out?
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too.
There's a strange gleam in his eye.
He approves of this radical approach. Knows it was necessary.
The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the...
He stops mid-sentence and
What do
turns
you
to you.
think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
Foreign powers cleaned up our mess and now they rule us. Shake your head in shame.
I'm sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Fussel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio.
His eyes.
This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with.
What exactly is a suzerain?
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
What is it about this old soldier that makes him stand so proud?
All you observe is a veteran refusing to let go of the past and his old uniform. This is not uncommon.
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabiniers in service of Fussel I, Guillaume le Lion, and the valiant King Philip V before him.
Don't you mean Fristel the Fan?
You do not speak his name, Craven, although he was a clown. But he was our clown, ours to ridicule and to mourn.
There's something you missed. You will get to it. Don't worry.
Do you know anything about the man hanged in the backyard of the Whirling in Rags?
Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement. But this affair has passed me by completely.
And most of the locals?
In Martinez, the union is the law. So can you really blame them?
But you don't have a problem with cops.
Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our street.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
So again, you don't know anything?
If I knew, I would not be afraid to tell you. I simply don't. I'm an old man, not a coward. The daily business of the riffraff no longer concerns me.
'Tis true, sire. He knows nothing.
Thank you for your time. Enormous bulls, worthy of a real man.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
Some great tectonic force has cracked the pavement like an eggshell.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
Kim, how do I turn on the headlights?
All right. Ready? I turn, you press start. It's next to the preheater.
Press engine start.
The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The rounds per minute gauge jumps, and the engine of the Caprice Canada comes to life with a whiny growl.
Press the button labeled headlights.
The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now.
Close the door.
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears. A street grid and the veins of a great river. A familiar sensation washes over you.
There she is. Revachol West.
There's no pride in the lieutenant's voice.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations.
Look at the shimmering street grid.
The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet The major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanema's headlights.
Where are we? Point to the halogen.
Let me see.
He takes the ledger for a moment and inspects it.
Right here.
He says, his finger near the top of the map, on the segment of coast jutting out into the Great Sea. I'm sure I've seen worse.
Oh yes. Coal City. The Royaume. The burnt-out quarter.
All of them worse than here.
Look at the perforations.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows.
Tally up the different rows.
The first row has 18 dots.
What about the next one?
The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border, and then some.
Count them individually.
There are so many, it's hard to count. More than 150, at least. Maybe even 200.
What about the last row?
The last row has 3 perforations.
3, that's it?
That's it.
Hey Kim, what do all these holes mean? Point to the dots on the water map.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you'd keep a record. Officers often do. Let's take a look.
Alpha male officers who are proud of their numbers often do. It's meant. Son, here is where we score your life performance. You better hope it's good.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered?
Do you really think I have any idea?
Fair point. Let's move on, shall we? This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. It means finished. You've got, let's see... Wow, more than 200.
Is that a lot?
It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers.
I used to be good. That's some solace, I guess. What's the last number?
Right. Those are your confirmed kills. You've got precisely 3 perforations there.
Confirmed kills. That sounds pretty evil. A drink would soften that feeling.
So I'm a killer.
That's right. A killer of humans.
For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident.
It's obvious the lieutenant doesn't think very highly of these officers.
But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for.
He's sincerely glad you're not a scary predator. Not to say relieved you're competent.
How do you handle the strain?
Everyone has their own method of coping. Some more effective, or self-destructive than others.
He gives you a meaningful look.
Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies.
Maybe I should find a hobby.
Anything's better than annihilating yourself with drugs and alcohol.
It's meant in earnest. Please don't mistake it for a jab.
Have you ever killed anyone, Kim?
Yes.
He says, declining to elaborate. Thanks for this. Conclude.
The lieutenant nods.
Okay, let's go. Put the ledger
Right.
away.
I'll go turn off the lights.
He presses a remote control on the key.
You can now see your statistics on your journal page, to the right of the task description.
An ancient fountain. It doesn't pump water anymore. There's a tree in it. Tire tracks leading in onto the roof. The slush and rain has almost washed them off. Some kind of machine, an antique cash register. Above the woman, the black simply says DEI. In the dark, a film projector is whirring away. Mostly military wear, with a few more eccentric fashions thrown in.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
Let your gaze run over the streetlight.
The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
Is that a streetlight?
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
Where did you get this?
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property.
He leans in so the pawnbroker doesn't hear him.
You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
He pauses, studying the light. How much for the streetlight?
700 real. A bargain, I dare say.
A bargain? No, it's not. He's trying to sweet-talk you into buying trash.
Well, you had in mind, there's one like this in every
The
county.
light has undergone 3 transformations, and every transformation, large or small, has a price tag.
He rests his elbow on the counter and brings his face closer to
The light has been removed and rewired. That's 2 transformations.
I get how sawing it
But
off
what
and
about the
redoing the
third?
wiring could add to the cost, but what else?
The most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few days ago.
It throws you a look of weary patience.
Okay, that checks out.
There's nothing else you need to know about the light.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty.
Inspect the knights on horseback.
Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
Point at the knights on horseback. Who are they?
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious about these guys.
A long, long time ago.
Inspect the blue uniforms.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
Wait, this looks like Rene, the old guy who was playing petanque. Petanque?
This is what the loyalists looked like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Point at the blue figures. Are these royalist soldiers?
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
Inspect the figures in rags.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
Point at the figurines in rags. Are these even soldiers?
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win.
It's meant to give people hope. Even we can do it.
Maybe.
Interfacing, medium 10. Dig up a truly cool figurine in the box under the table.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
What is this? Show it to the shopkeeper.
That's the Headless Phone Rider.
Who?
The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head.
He points at the decapitated figurine.
50 cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
Figurine set, Headless Phone Rider.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
He grins.
That was a very smooth salesman's grin that almost comes off as earnest. You should learn from him.
Step away from the table.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels.
Stand on the tips of your toes to see more.
One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved.
Shopkeep, this Stereo 8 approved machine here.
Is the Harman Welsh W2. Made in Vespa. Designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel formats. 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real.
What I really want to know is, could this device come in handy in my police work?
If police work means playing tapes, sure. You can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape.
That's all.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop.
The man at the counter turns to you slowly.
What can I do for you?
He asks.
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
Now that RCM is here, tell me, have you had any trouble lately?
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake. People who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from.
No, quite a collection.
It keeps me entertained.
His attention is drawn once more to the play of light and shadow on the wall behind you.
Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what?
Electrochemistry, challenging 12. Is Roy high, and if yes, then what is he on?
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street.
Parolidon, what is that?
A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Step closer. Sir, could you take off your sunglasses? I'd like to check your eyes.
Why on earth? These are prescription. I can't really see without them.
It's pretty obvious that you're under the influence, sir.
Parolidon is just something you know, since the People's Power disaster.
He coughs as if to mark his words.
I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. Had to take it for radiation sickness.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
Tell me more about this emergency relief brigade you were part of.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
Tough son of a gun, this one. Respect.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. Years getting sick.
He looks at the spiraling light and stops. It must have been tough, radioactive cleanup.
There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment, and early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could.
Whose fault was it that the generator failed?
No one's. Everyone's.
He sighs and shakes his head.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen?
Thank you for telling me.
I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Care to share your parolidol with me?
Have you tried it before?
It's almost like he's worried for you. The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved. Go ahead then, he thinks. As long as you can walk straight, I don't care. He won't be your nog, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
I haven't, but don't worry, I can take it.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
He presents a large cap-shaped object on the palm of his hand. Very odd looking.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained parolidon. Straight into your gut.
Thanks, man. Take the parolidol.
Of course.
There's something I'd like to sell.
Let me have a look.
I have this commemorative pin, but before I sell it, I have some questions. Show him Lena's pin.
Jean-Baptiste summer dinghy rates is 31. What a pleasant time that was. So, what do you want to know? Price? I can give you $3.20 for it.
Okay, but can you hold on to it for a few days before putting it up for sale? I promise to give it back.
Sure. I can keep it behind the counter for a week. But only if you pawn it right now.
That's all I wanted to know about it.
Sure thing. So, do you
Check my
want to sell it?
pockets.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
I have a fascinating photo of a corpse. No, I don't want to sell it. I don't have anything to sell.
Another time, perhaps.
You might be able to aid in our investigation.
I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have.
Know anything about the recent hanging?
I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business. Bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything. No one likes to see what you have to see every day.
Think you could help me get a corpse out of a tree?
The corpse behind the hostel, I assume. I don't have a truck with a mounted platform, or anything of that sort myself. Ask around the harbour.
Actually, that's all I've got.
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
By the way, do you happen to have any guns like the ones carried by cops?
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
What? Sold? This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another. Alert.
Was the buyer a policeman too?
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive. but I was just happy to get rid of it. And of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it?
I don't like it either. What if she intends to commit a crime and blame it on the citizens' militia?
You're right that she could cast aspersions on the force. We have to find her.
Any idea where I can find this buyer?
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
At least now I know how I lost my sidearm. Let's talk about something else.
Of course.
I have other business to take care of. Water lockout of order until Wednesday 7:15.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything.
Pull the lever up.
You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens.
Release lever.
A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across the canal. Some other way. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
Yes?
A helpline to the company that controls the drawbridge.
There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
Rummage through the box.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic. The kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool, UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work.
Try again. Maybe we can find some interesting sunglasses in the box.
No luck. All you find is this lime-colored cellophane visor, produced by a bargain sportswear brand called Amphibian, apparently. There's a malformed green frog on its bent cap.
Oh, that visor is perfect for you, officer. It'll definitely keep the sun out of your eyes while you're shooting criminals. Bang, bang!
Sergeant
And
Lieutenant
all
Kim.
for a mere 6 real.
Are firefights something we should be prepared for?
I hope not.
You don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem. Let's get you some real shades.
Even those shades are recommended. Try them on.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel them pinching your nose and chafing against your brow.
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practically made for you. I'll let you have them for 2 real and 50 cents.
They're perfect for concealing your bloodshot and baggy eyes.
No, you are definitely not buying those.
You're right, I'm too sensible for those.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you.
Leave for now.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes, smelling of strangers' body odors.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Save the economy. What are you talking about?
Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco.
This doesn't make any sense. Why exactly does the economy need saving?
Look around, officer. You see all these premium goods just sitting there, not getting bought? We've got to keep the flow of goods moving. Is this really the economy we want to leave to our children?
But I don't have children, I think.
Too bad, officer. Kids make it all worthwhile. Without kids, who's going to be around to enjoy the economy? Don't let me stop you. Open the box and browse a little.
Browse through the box.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first-hand. Buy second-hand. Keep the economy moving.
Find something worth salvaging from the pile of rags.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces. This jacket is the apex of human evolution. The moment at which man became weatherproof. Practical, and yet it may deaden your senses to the world around you. Possibly because of the awful typeface.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
Leave for now.
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra serious.
I can see you've a taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
Inspect the sneakers.
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super air, super fine, super cool. Only 50 real.
Only? That's madness.
Inspect the speakers.
These once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop by the indomitable found ultras atop them.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here.
What about the speakers, though? Doesn't anyone want those speakers?
These, officer? These speakers are Samaran garbage. I'm ashamed to even use them for props. Don't waste your time on them.
Samaran trash. That sounds like they're from the Samaran People's Republic, produced under the dictatorship of the proletariat.
Can't I just buy the said conquered Samaran speakers?
No way, officer. These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk.
That's why I want them. I think I might be low-fi socialist junk myself.
No, officer. You're a high-class policeman who accepts nothing less than the best. Lucky for you, I've got the best on sale.
You don't know what I am. I don't even know it myself, boss. I want the speakers.
Well, if you want them...
He pauses for a moment, calculating.
But see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, where will the sneakers go? I can't leave premium lifestyle sneakers on the ground. If, on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe throw in the speakers for little extra. 50 cents?
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers first. You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes you're looking at him, his face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin.
Happy shopping, officer. Everything's cool here.
He gives you a thumbs up. What's so cool?
Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, officer.
From out on the bay, a cool wind gathers. It sweeps into the city, tugging at the textiles hanging around the stand. Some distance away, the sound of a tin can clattering across the street can be heard.
You're very cool. Bang, 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 bang!
Really? You think I'm cool?
Oh, yes! You got style. You got personal style. You know what you like.
He serves his consumerist kingdom with an air of satisfaction.
You like premium menswear. Look around and browse. Everything looks cool on a guy like you. Take your time.
He settles back into the pile of boxes he's sitting on.
Don't be distracted by the flattery and funny man act. Questions.
Persuade him to give you some money.
No need to dress this one up. Just tell him what you want.
You, I want your money now.
Oh, okay.
Sidling
Why,
stops his
officer?
face, suddenly serious. I don't know. It was just the only thing I could come up with in my head to ask you. I need to get money somehow.
Ah, yes. Money is very important.
The street vendor nods, dead serious.
Are you trying to ask for a bribe? If so, you're not doing a very good job.
He looks at the vendor.
Sorry, detective.
What kind of stuff are you selling here?
Only the coolest goods in Revachol. I've got sneakers, speakers, extremely comfy pants too. Try them on right here. No shame, only freedom.
Where do you get these comfy pants?
I'm an entrepreneur, officer. I've got sources, buyers, suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, wholesalers, all extremely cool and above board.
You have a permit to sell all this.
Good joke, officer. Here we don't have permits, just economic freedom. Take a look around.
He takes a deep breath.
It's beautiful. Beautiful freedom.
Is it true, Kim? He doesn't need a permit to sell?
It is, yes. Anyone can set up their shop whenever they feel like it.
That's right. No permits, no bureaucracy. That's why this city and its law officials are so cool.
Okay, no permit then. Cool.
Hyper cool.
Is there a discount for cool officers like me?
No need for discounts at ceilings, officer. Everything's already on sale. Anything you want, 50% off.
But did he first mark them up 100%, just so that he could put them on sale?
Are these things really on sale, or did you just jack up the price first?
My man, you know how the game is played. You and me, we should work together. What do you think? Shake things up?
He winks. That's all then. Let me ask you something else.
Anything for you.
Where are you from, Sealing?
Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all business now. All Revachol.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran Isola.
You're from the Apricot Suzerainty, right?
Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say that you're from, pronounce it very painstakingly, Sea Guy.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism. But the Apricot Suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left.
You're welcome. I do try to be supportive of other peoples and cultures.
That's so cool, officer. Speaking of, why not support an independent local entrepreneur by buying some pens and glasses?
I'll look around, thanks.
Hey,
Look around.
hey,
Who, me?
you, yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again.
How come there's word on the street?
You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pockets. Literally murder all human beings, regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff.
I've said some mildly left-wing things, but none of those.
Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it?
Wait, first, what's this communism even about?
Failure. It's about failure.
I don't do failure.
Of course you do. You are failure. You are communism. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped, shat on. While everyone else is out partying, having a callous laugh, you will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin. Where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade.
Roll up your sleeves and start building communism.
Oh yeah. Get the firing squads and the animal wagons ready.
Wait, what? Firing squads? You didn't say anything about those.
Too late to back out now. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few million eggs.
Roll your sleeves up further and breathe in the pristine air. Finished thought. Hot air rises from the sewer, sour, acidic, and strangely comforting. Okay, that's gonna be it for now, but thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next episode.